Welcome back. Well, it's been a few months since I made a video, and I've got some new glasses and a new look. But apart from that, I really haven't got anything new at all to show you. So I'm going to show you some old stuff. This, as you might remember from an ancient video of mine, is my ZX Spectrum. It's a 128K version, and I suppose I've had this for getting on 25 years maybe, certainly when it came out anyway. And like most of my friends at school, we had Spectrums. We weren't really Commodore friends, we were Spectrum friends. And there was quite a lot of fanboyism going on back then, namely between the Commodore, the Amstrad and the Spectrum. And the Spectrum had quite high resolution graphics, I say quite. It didn't have a great colour palette, but what it did have was fantastic games. And the games, when at their best, worked within the limitations of 48K. That's probably less than most of your text messages are these days. So it was a very versatile machine, and one which brought a lot of people into the world of programming, and it really did change the shape of gaming. Lots of people, including people like Matthew Smith, who started off as a bedroom coder, went on to produce classic titles like Jet Set Willy, which everybody now knows, which set a bit of a benchmark for the kind of home computer game. Some of my favourites are here in front of me. Before I just run through those, just an update on really how I use my Spectrum. I don't have a data recorder, so I am loading my games off this nifty Sony Professional Walkman, and whilst it looks nice, occasionally some of the games don't load because it sort of has a bit of wow and flutter, unlike a good old-fashioned data recorder, which is one of these horrible great big things. The volume loud enough to blow the top off the Albert Hall when you loaded a game, but this is more style over substance, I suppose, and it doesn't help when it's set to Chrome, because when it's set to Chrome it doesn't load anything. I've also got a Spectrum SCART lead. Can you believe it? You can actually run this thing off RGB SCART through a DIN cable. This is a recent pickup actually, and it's probably the reason I've got all this stuff together. I saw them online after finding the new Sinclair, gamepad. I don't know what you call it. I suppose it's a plug and play games console, isn't it? But it's just got an AV out, and although it comes preloaded with 2,000 games, playing them through an AV out or an HDMI out with a terrible sort of conversion to HD wasn't going to do it for me. And I've got a nice little Sony 14-inch Trinitron which I use with the Spectrum, and that's probably what I'll be showing the screenshots from. And it just works perfectly. It's absolutely lovely, really crystal sharp, and it's got even a built-in mic lead, so you plug that into the mic port of your Spectrum, takes the audio into the television. Anyway, enough of that. I also have a joystick, talking about peripherals. Unlike my Saturn 2-player joystick, this is a resolutely 1-player joystick. It comes with auto fire, which means it's holding the fire button down like that. It's not rapid fire, so no getting away from finger pressure. And some of these games really do have terrible key layouts. So Iridium, one of my favourite Spectrum games ever, has a key layout which is basically up and down on that side, left and right. No, it's up and down there, I think, left and right. So you're left and right there, you're up and down, and then fire button is enter. So can you imagine pressing that as your fire button, fucking fire. It's pain in the arse. And there's another game, one of my favourites, Brian Bloodaxe here, a fantastic surreal Monty Python-esque platformer. All the keys are in a row. So you've got like 5-6 keys in a row there. Left, right, jump, fire, bomb, collect, item. Very, very uncomfortable. So you've got some of the games in front of me from my youth. I'm selling approximately 40 games right now on eBay, or right now when this video is made. But I've decided to keep these 25 games because they're all really good, or have a particular sort of I don't know what the word is now, sentimental value. I'm not going to talk through all of them, but I am going to show a few screenshots from a few of them. I'm just going to pick one out to start with. This one doesn't load at the moment, annoyingly. It's Highway Encounter by Vortex Software. It's an absolutely gorgeous game, and it's a little bit like what's that bloody Neo Geo game called? Oh God! It's a 3D isometric shooter, and it's like you're playing a Dalek, and you've got a row of Daleks, and it's absolutely brilliant. That's not a good combination there. Well, what sort of games did I used to play on the Spectrum? Obviously, I was a fan of shooters, so I've got a couple here. Iridium, this one, and another good one with Flying Shark, and Dark Fusion. So I've got 3 here. I also used to like platform arcade games and or platform arcade adventures. And I think this is where the Spectrum really came into its own. Dynamite Dan 2 here by Mirasoft is a really great game. It's fast action on a sort of platforming type category. And Heartland as well, really good, by Odin, very playable. One of the standout titles in the late days of the Spectrum was Rex. Really stunning graphics and great playability there. Thoroughly recommend that one. And last but not least, Dandare, really great platformer, loads of good graphics and great playability. So those are some of my Spectrum games. Hopefully be uploading a few screenshots and gameplay from them. And I know most of you probably aren't interested in the Spectrum, but I just thought it might be interesting to show you a little bit of my gaming background. Of course, at the time I had, I would say probably about 100 titles on original cassettes, many of which got thrown out when I moved house a long time ago. But I had many more on copy cassettes, probably about 1,000 or so. Spectrum had a library of about 2,500-3,000 games at the time, amazing library. And my friends and I always used to share games and copy them on our little ghetto blaster things, tape to tape style. And so we built up these quite impressive game collections. I had all of the Ultimate games, obviously copied. Don't own any of those, funnily enough. But yeah, the arcade action shooting games, arcade platformers, that was really where I was at. Even with these simple games, even at 48k, these games would be, at the time, would feel like big games, big challenging games, mainly because of the difficulty. I think if they were made to be really easy, you'd play through them in about 10 minutes. So something like Ghosts and Goblins, which is, renowned for being an incredibly difficult game anyway, was even more difficult on the Spectrum, mainly because the keys were like that, left, right, up, down, fire. But it was a very difficult game. Some of the shooters on the Spectrum are absolutely ridiculous. Like, they've all got checkpoint systems, and there's one called Sidewise that I'm trying to sell. Whilst it looks fairly smooth, you're about that big, and the screen is like that big, so virtually everything kills you, and you survive for about, I don't know, the average about 15. If you survive for 15 seconds, you're doing well. Synapse was another good shooter, Cybernoid and Exelon, loads and loads of games I've not got here, but this is just a little selection of mine. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.